we thought about philanthropy and what we do at the company, obviously the company's been very successful and we want to give back. What we wanted to do was to give where we thought there was a real impact. We've all, contributed to the big organizations. They've got great causes. They're great places to put your money and your effort. Where we wanted to focus on is where does a Presidio dollar really matter and where does a Presidio hour really matter? So what that meant is not only do we want to contribute in places that need obviously the finances of the company, but also like where can we start? Where can we help? And so here in Fort Worth, that's been with an organization called Hope Farm. It is an interesting story as we started down this path of where do we want to do this? The idea was local, very impactful to where the dollar mattered and they need our help. We got a great group of people. They're awesome and they're all really good at a lot of different things. But the one thing that I think is common to them is that they care. So where can we give people hours to? You would think that's easy, but that's not the easiest thing to find. And so Hope Farm, of all things, my very good friend, Dan Lockwood, who I've been friends with and business with for a very, very long time, his wife sat on the board of this and I heard him talk about it. It's involved in Fort Worth, in the inner city with kids that needed help. That really needed help. I knew that Dan, his wife and Joyce, had both spent considerable amount of their own time and money, right? That's what really tells you something's important, is if you're willing to spend your time and your money personally on it, then that means it's important. They're great people, so obviously I trusted them. And so I brought it up one day to the group and said, hey, listen, I don't know much about this organization, but I think it really fits what we're trying to do here. I really think we can make an impact. So when we met with the Hope Farm staff, toured the facility, talked about what we were trying to do, talked about what they were trying to do, talked about, the money part's always the easy part. Talked about the human resource that we wanted to be able to commit, and then also the idea of, listen, if the idea here is to contribute capital and hours of the company to help facilitate the cause of Hope Farm at the location, at their facility, what else could we be doing? So, listen, if the idea is to really show these boys what else is out there other than just the surroundings they're in right now, what about them coming into the office? What about internships, things like that, showing them what, this doesn't really look like corporate America. It looks more like, ping pong tables and dartboards. But, the idea of showing them, hey, this is what you can work towards, right? This is what the real world looks like. And if you really work hard and you do these kind of things, this is what it is. It's a great group. It's a great organization. It's a great cause. It's a mile from this office, which is great. We're close, those kind of things. The other big cause is the Boys Ranch. The Boys Ranch is simple. So we've got a large presence with Hope Farm here in Fort Worth. And then I would say our largest field philanthropy is with the Boys Ranch. So the Boys Ranch, simply, it's one of those, maybe it's kind of like me knowing Dan and Joyce and them being involved in Hope Farm, how we got there. As easy as the Boys Ranch is, we operate wells on their property. So our field office is adjacent to the campus of the Boys Ranch. So it's actually called Boys Ranch, Texas. It's outside of Amarillo, Texas. So if you were to type in Boys Ranch, Texas, it'll pop up. But it's probably 30 or 40 miles from Amarillo. And so it was set up to help young boys, I think now young women as well, that needed a helping hand. So it's a working farm. It's a working farm, working ranch. They plant their own things, they grow their own cattle, they raise their own cattle, they do all these type things. It's been around for a very, very long time. People know the Boys Ranch. People know what it's about, what it stands for, those kind of things. And again, it's giving back to kids. And obviously there's a common theme here, the kids. It's giving back to the kids that really need help. I think that, I don't know, maybe it just strikes a chord with us, I don't know. But it's a phenomenal organization. It's a huge facility. It's crazy it is. We operate wells in the ranch, on the ranch. And so proximity to one of our major field operations is, we're right on top of each other. So we've had a couple of groups out there to tour it. We've made donations to the cause. We've donated time to the cause. It's just a big part of what we do. I think you always struggle with, everybody's got resources, money, time, those kind of things, and where do you put it and how do you put it? I think being strategic about where you're doing it, not kind of spreading it all out and really focusing on it, kind of suits us well. It suits us well because we can all kind of roll up our sleeves and, maybe even to TCB, we can kind of take that culture to other places. So it's been good to be focused with those two organizations. The question is where do we focus? And so as we spent time thinking about it, we really came down to probably two things. We wanted to be ultra local, which means that it's something really close to us. And we wanted to be a place where the level of support that we could give from a monetary perspective and a human resource perspective of our time, of our employees and ourselves mattered. Other things, Again, back to the idea of where we want to make an impact through one of our foremen in the area had a contact, and it was a remote fire station. And effectively, they had firefighting equipment there, but of all things, the area is so remote, they don't have water resources. So their closest water resource was some ways away, too far away, put it that way. And what they really need, as simple as is, they need water containment. They need storage. They need the ability to store water on site to be able to fill the fire trucks to go out and put out fires. And whether that's grass fires or fires in the area out there for the residential community out there, they asked if we could help, and the answer was sure. I mean, we have tanks. We got things, storage tanks that we can use. We've got those kind of things. So we donated it to help plumb everything in. And now they have a water source that has actually been used multiple times now to be able to fight fires in that area. So this is our first annual crawfish boil that we had here this year. It's got a long story that we don't need to go into for the last 25 years of my career and what we've done with this crawfish boil, but it's the first time that we've hosted it. We hosted it in my house, and we had a great time. So everybody came out. I've got a great friend from Lafayette that came over and cooked for us. It'll be an annual event we do, but it's really focused around the kids, to be able to bring your families, bring your children, bounce houses, petting zoos, things like that, to where we can really interact as a group. Other things we do, corporate-wise, we've got a big golf tournament that we put on every year out in Elk City. We took a huge contingent of Fort Worth employees out there. We bust them up and bust them back, but it was a great event. So, a lot of the field personnel come there in the area. We've got a lot of local involvement in the golf tournament as well. Very soon we've got be our first annual fishing tournament out at one of the parks in the fields. So.
My name's Jennifer Elrod, and this is the Clay Shoot for Kaysen. It's an event that I created in memory of my son Kaysen that passed away this year. It'll be, he would have been 19 this year, and he passed away at the hands of my ex-boyfriend. We have this fundraiser so we can donate funds to Cook Children's Care Team that deals directly with child abuse cases. And so it's our way of being able to give back and honor Kaysen's memory. I have worked with several members of the Presidio team before in my career. Through our friendships, they've continued, and so it's just awesome that they continue to support this cause. We're just very grateful for all the support over the last 13 years.
So my friend Jennifer, several of us know her here. She worked with us at Trinity. This will be my 9th year to volunteer with her. Jennifer lost her son at the age of 2 to shaken baby syndrome, but she's put this on every single year, completely and solely to give back to Cook Children's, because that's who helped her when what happened with Kaysen. It's all volunteer work. She gets volunteers for their food, to work it, and then of course you pay to be a part of it. Then there's prizes that are donated, and so then there's raffle tickets, and then there's guns given away, and then she gives back over $25,000 to $30,000 to Cook Children's over this. And she is absolutely an amazing person, and she never, you think after all this time, it's a lot of work. And she does solely most of it, finding, and even when oil and gas was down, of course she's gotten a lot of her participation because she's in the oil and gas field, but when times are tough in the oil and gas field, people can't afford to do so. But every year she's managed to fill up all the teams. There's probably 30 of us that volunteer, and volunteering means taking water out, scoring, selling tickets. It's a fun day. It's very heartwarming. It's probably one of the most heartwarming days, because at the end of the day, Jennifer's just so humble and grateful that all of these people are coming out to support her and Kaysen, and she's able to give back. She got married about 4 or 5 years ago, and then now they have Trapper. So Trapper has a brother up in heaven, and he knows all about him. He's out there just running around, having a blast, and it's a really humble event. It's something that when you hear the story, you can't imagine how she's even living, I guess, after that. And for her to just think about others and wants to give back to Cook Children's is just amazing to me. And she's always done an exceptional job at it. So
it's grown from something that was very, very small 10 or 15 years ago to it's one of the larger clay shoots, I think, in DFW now. But it's something that a lot of us have worked with Jennifer in the past, and we're very passionate about supporting her cause and those type things. Not only a great way to give back to something that's extremely near and dear to a good friend of ours, but also it's a great industry event. It's very well supported by a lot of people in the industry. It's just grown and grown and grown every year. I don't know what they're going to do when they run out of room. They'll have to figure out something to do with it next. But I think we've always had a team there. I think even when Will and I first started the company and it was just me and him, we still supported the team to go out and shoot, just because it was so, I guess, close, near and dear to the heart of a lot of us here, where it's just something that we've always been a part of and will always be a part of. Obviously we're involved in a lot of great organizations now. It'll continue to be a part of the DNA of our company. I know it's a part of the DNA of every one of our employees. Everybody takes it very seriously and very near and dear to the heart of doing these things. I'm sure there'll be more to come. I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for us to do more, and I think that everybody at Presidio, whether it's in this office or our field operation or anywhere, would be up for any challenge, any new venture we might be able to take or adventure we might be able to take with organizations going down the road.
I would say that Presidio is probably the most giving company ever. I mean, if there's a cause, like if there's something that anybody believes in, that they really try to back it. So to me, that's pretty awesome.